I forgot my name. Hey, it's Caressa.
Hey, it's Maddie.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted. Okay, we're back.
Dreadfully Twisted, back. Tell your friends.
Speaking of, really quick, did you hear the Eminem new song from yesterday? He literally does that.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, Shady's back. And he like does that again in the song. And it's like really cool.
Love that.
But it reminded me of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, Maddie, like our podcast.
It's our second theme song.
Our second theme song. No copyright.
No copyright.
Don't sue us. We're just using you as inspiration.
Yes, exactly.
We love you, Em.
We love you.
Your new song's great, by the way. Even though he's probably never gonna listen to this. Oh, hold on. I need to pull up my research here. Okay, so just a fair warning. This case might be a two-parter, depending on how long this episode's gonna run. I might end up splitting it. I don't know. So we'll see. So you guys might get two parts. Yay! Because I don't know if I want to tell you what it's about yet, or if you just want to know, because like later, because like you won't find out exactly what case this is until I say the 3 words.
Really?
Yeah, until these 3 words, because I think you might have heard of it.
Yeah.
But we'll just get into it.
Okay.
So, let me pull up this. Yeah, we'll be fine. I don't want your microphone to cut out again.
Yeah.
I normally bring up that one screen, but since some of my research is on the laptop, I'm just gonna hope for the best. So we're gonna start with talking about Mont Vernon, New Hampshire. That town was established in 1803. It is a quiet town with a good reputation, with little to no crime, and like crime hasn't happened there in a really long time. The average population is about 2,000 people. Actually, the last murder that happened in Mont Vernon was in 1840.
Wow.
Where a drunk guy stabbed another guy.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's a suburb of the city of Manchester, south near the border of Massachusetts. It's overall a good city to live in. Now we're going to talk about the Cates family. I just want to give you like an idea of what Mont Vernon was. Or Mont Vernon, sorry, not Mount Vernon. It's Mont Vernon. Correcting myself. Okay. I need to stop saying Just FYI.
I catch myself doing that too.
I need to stop saying and okay and probably like.
Yeah. Literally, that's another one.
I say literally all the time. Okay, so the Cates family lived in the community of Mont Vernon. It's just a weird name. Like I just want to put a U in there because of like Mount.
There normally are Mount. Like. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Restart that. The Cates family lived in the community of Mont Vernon. Kimberly Cates was born March 6th, 1967 in Toledo, Ohio. Her parents were James and Lynette Piasecki. She had 2 brothers. Her father was from Tucson, Arizona, so she grew up there. Kimberly graduated from the nursing program in Arizona from Pima Community College. I don't know what it is about me and nurses. I keep doing episodes about nurses.
I didn't even notice that.
I just noticed that. I was like, my last the Family Feud murderer, she was a nurse.
Coincidental. That's like whenever I did like 3 cases in a row that happened in Canada and I didn't notice. And I was like, oh, wait a second. These all happen in Canada.
I don't know. There's a lot of similarities in this one to my other ones that I've done. She worked at Tucson Medical Center. I am so sorry. Talking is hard today.
Talking is hard.
Talking is so hard. Today, my sister's husband, we were at the graduation party and he said something wrong and I just looked at him. I was like, talking is hard. He looked back at me. He's like, yeah, talking is hard. And I was like, see? I just moved my microphone so you probably heard me bump that. But I was like, he doesn't even listen to the podcast, I don't think. But like,
see.
And then Kira said it. She's like, yeah, talking is hard. I'm like, see, everybody agrees.
Yeah, everyone knows the struggle.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
She worked at Tucson Medical Center. She was a great nurse due to her caring nature. In 1997, Kimberly and David Cates got married. A year later, their daughter Jaimie Lynn was born. In 2004, they moved to Mont Vernon, New Hampshire to Fortrow Road. They moved there for its safety and low crime rates.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that they moved there for that. There, Kimberly worked at both St. Joseph's Hospital and Catholic Medical Center. She was a nurse for the emergency room and labor and delivery. I just want to say, like, it's amazing that she worked at 2 different places.
Yeah, it is.
Because, like, being a nurse is already stressful and hard enough. Working at 2 different places and, like, working 2 jobs is crazy.
I know. In crazy hours, too, probably.
Yeah, especially, what if... Okay, this is just, like, hypothetical. What if you work at 2 hospitals and you need to go to both at the same time because there's an emergency? Like, aren't nurses on call?
Yeah.
Just a thought that I just had randomly. I don't know.
No idea.
Okay. Anyway. Just my mind going completely off the rails there. Rehinging. Nursing was her calling. Quote, it allowed her caring spirit to touch others, end quote. Kimberly was saying Kimberly is really hard. Kimberly, because I want to talk faster than what my mouth lets me. So Kimberly was described as outgoing and had a warm, cheerful smile. Some activities. Oh my god, I am struggling.
Talking is very hard.
I'm tripping over my words right now. Okay. Some activities of hers was staying physically fit, enjoyed time in the sun, and supporting Jaimie in her extra activities after school. Jaimie had her black belt in karate. Kim and Jaimie were learning how to go kayaking in the summer, and then in the winter they learned how to snowboard. They were best friends, and the family was very active and enjoyed all spending time together. Jaimie would play with the neighbor Yuki's daughter. She was 6 years older. David was an engineer at the BAE Systems as a defense contractor, not coordinator. I don't know why I was going to try to say coordinator. However, for both Kimberly and David, their most fulfilling job was being parents to Jaimie. They were described as a happy family. However, due to David's job, he traveled on occasional business trips, which would leave Kim and Jaimie at home alone. So for security, he installed an alarm system in the house, which would contact local police if there was an emergency. The same neighbor, Yuki, said that Kimberly was, quote, meticulous about safety and locking doors, end quote. Kim had confided in her that she was a little uneasy with the seclusion of their house and the fact that there weren't any streetlights on that road. So they made an agreement that they would watch each other's houses. They thought that if anything bad would happen, they would be able to hear it and help each other. However, looking at the map of the houses actually weren't that close, and there was actually a lot of trees in between, so you actually couldn't hear anything going on. But I know for, like, their safety and peace of mind, they wanted that there. Like, they wanted that agreement. So I just wanted to read a couple quotes on her memorial page because a lot of people said a lot of nice stuff on there, and it will really show in, like, a case how Kimberly was such a great person. Mm-hmm. Some person said, Kim will always be remembered as a wonderful and caring person who never stopped smiling. Somebody else said, I worked with Kim at TMC and remember how she always talked about her husband and daughter and how much she loved them both. The world has lost a wonderful woman. Another person said, I went to nursing school with Kim and was honored to be at her wedding when she and David married. While I haven't seen her in many years, she frequently crossed my mind. She was so fun and funny. A real inspiration and a wonderful caregiver. To the family that is hurting so much, please remember that God never intended for this kind of thing to happen. And then another person said, I remember her as a person filled with contagious joy. We were all blessed to have known her. Another person said, Kim was our matchmaker and we share so many great fun memories of her. So it's just kind of great to see that she, like, match-made people.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, like, that's so cute. And then I'm just going to read a couple more. Somebody said, I worked with Kim at Ventana Canyon. She was a great gal, full of life and energy. Okay, so I'm going to read one more. It said, I didn't know Kim that well. I did see her at the mom's place at CMC Hospital, and she was so very sweet and kind to others. She would walk by me with a beautiful smile and say hi to me. So that just shows, like, people that she didn't even know she was, like, really nice to. Because there wasn't that much about her, so that's why I wanted to read a couple of those quotes, because I couldn't find too much about her, and I wanted this episode to be more about her than the people who did this, because I'm going to go into the people who did this extensively just because you have to get the whole entire story to understand why this happened.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do have to go into the terrible people, but and it's not going to be short on that part because there's 5 of them.
5? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this episode is very heavy. It's very graphic. I am going to play clips in this episode from the people who have done this. So just be prepared. Trigger warning now for everybody. But before we get into that part, we're still going to keep it a little bit light for a minute. On Friday, October 2nd, 2009, Jaimie went to a school dance. She was always described by everyone as strong and resilient. On Saturday, October 3rd, 2009, before David left for his business trip, the alarm system had unexpectedly stopped working and wasn't able to work after this. The family wasn't concerned. It was like any other weekend for Kimberly and Jaimie. They were going to go to the mall the next day and possibly stop at Jaimie's karate studio, which Kim had texted to David that night before they went to bed around 8:30 p.m. When David was gone, Jaimie would sleep in her parents' bedroom. From Maryland, David texted them goodnight before heading to bed. Now I'm going to get into the 5 individuals to get the whole idea of this case. So we're going to go into who is considered the leader of the group. So yeah. Steven Spader was 17 in 2009. He was born November 9th, 1991 in Arizona. He was adopted by Christine and Steven Spader at 5 days old. His biological mother was a drug addict, so he was born addicted to marijuana and cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Which that will come back later, so keep that in your mind. He was also the only child, and his parents gave him everything he needed or wanted. They lived in the town of Brookline on Wallace Brook Road. He was involved in Boy Scouts, theater, and did well in school. Steven even played Daddy Warbucks in the play Annie. I've never seen the play Annie, so I don't know what that is, but I just want to put that in there.
I think he's the main
character.
Male character, yeah.
Okay. I want to know that. I should have did research on that, but I'm sorry.
I was a theater nerd in high school, so yeah. I know all about that stuff.
I know some stuff, but like I don't know all of it.
Yeah.
But when he was in Boy Scouts, he met his best friend, Christopher Gribble. Steven's parents said he was anxious and complained of the stress and pressure of school. People described him as aloof and a loner. I get the loner part.
Yeah, me too.
Being called aloof is kind of like harsh.
Yeah.
When Steven was in middle school, he started showing troubling signs. His parents did everything they could to try to help him. They took him to mental health professionals, several of them to be exact. His school created an individual education plan for him even. The individual education plan is normally for kids who have learning disabilities. We don't know exactly what learning disability he had. However, Steven was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and major depression. In 2007, Steven went to a birthday party at a skating rink and met a girl, and they started a relationship, which was described as intense and turbulent. They ended up running away together to New York from New Hampshire.
Oh my god.
That's how far. Like, that's so far.
Yeah.
He got caught by police and was sent home, though. Oh my gosh, you probably hear my phone buzzing. I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. In 2008, when he was 15 to 16, he went into a psychiatric hospital 2 times. He used marijuana, cocaine, and prescription drugs. His parents spent thousands of dollars to help him get his drug addiction and mental health and better. So thousands of dollars.
Wow.
You'll see how much exactly. They put him in different programs to see what would help. In May of 2008, his parents placed him in the Adirondack Leadership Experience in Saranac Lake, New York. This program was $500 a day, and it was an addiction treatment center for teenagers, where they specialized in wilderness living and doing activities in the wild. Steven lasted less than 2 days.
Well, he saved the money.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Oh crap, I just dropped my notebook. I'll get it in a minute. I got distracted because you said that. I thought it was funny. The organization officials stated that Steven needed a higher level of treatment and couldn't help him because they couldn't provide him what he needed. And they also said he couldn't handle him and he was too much for them.
He had to be real crazy. Doing some crazy stuff, because...
Right? Like, how for people not to be able to handle you at a place like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then Stephen was sent to Aspen Residential Treatment Center in Syracuse, Utah, which was another drug treatment center. However, this one was $9,000 a month.
Oh my god.
I literally put wow. And you guessed it. Stephen lasted less than a month there.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2008, he also got into 2 horrifying situations that involved knives.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And you'll see even like why. One of the instances, he pointed a knife at his father during an argument. And another, he had kind of a tantrum in his kitchen. He started stabbing counters, grabbing knives, and was throwing food. The police got involved with that one, though.
Oh god.
Yeah, and it gets worse.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, not yet, but it does get
Yeah.
worse. Stephen was arrested a few times with his friend Billy Marks, which all happened in 2009. One was for smoking weed in June, and the other one was they were in a car chasing another car of kids, and then they rammed their car into theirs. Stephen then threatened them with a tire iron by waving it outside their car. He was arrested for only 13 days.
Jeez.
Just imagine how terrifying that would be for the kids
I
in the other
know.
car.
Yeah.
They'd probably be traumatized and not want to drive
Yeah.
ever again. Like, oh my god. Other convictions he had were trespassing, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. He dropped out of high school but eventually did get his GED. He wanted to be a gangster and a thug. This is a trigger warning. I don't know what kind of trigger warning to label it as, but I think it's like a Nazi thing here.
Yeah.
He drew a swastika on his forehead like Charles Manson.
God.
He also told people that he belonged to the Crips in another city.
Just palm to the forehead just now. Oh god.
Yeah. He says that a lot. He grew distant in months before the crime. He wrote, okay, this part, you're definitely going to remember this. And also I want to say, who the heck does this? He wrote in his hoodie, "This is Steven's sweatshirt. Steve, who is awesome."
What? Okay.
Steven, I don't think you're awesome.
Because everybody does that.
Yeah. I'm gonna write in my hoodie, "This belongs to Caressa. Caressa, who is awesome," even though I don't think I'm awesome, but like, all right.
You are awesome.
Oh, thank you. But like, who does that?
I know.
It deserves a laughing.
Him, I guess.
It tells a lot about his mental
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
And it's also sad. His parents tried everything to help him.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, with him, he was just, from the start, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was doomed. But now we're going to get into the second person who is like the second in command. And this one, he is crazier to me than Steven.
Oh god.
Because some of the things that he says, and I'm going to play a lot of his recordings from his like his questioning and stuff like that, and he's just insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how like a normal person could even say half the stuff that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's what got me like, what the heck is this case? Because like, I don't know. But his best friend Christopher Gribble, yeah, he's Gribble because he's freaking awful. Gribble stated Steven's pretty well known for being sketchy. You can tell he looks kind of sketchy, but he's a really good guy, you know. He's got a good heart. I don't think he does, Chris.
No, I don't think
I don't think he does. Neither do you. So Christopher Gribble, Steven's best friend, they met in Boy Scouts. After Chris was in Boy Scouts, he did become an Eagle Scout. He also lived in Brookline. Chris was born in Utah on October 18th, 1989. He was also 19 in 2009. His parents were Richard and Tamara. Chris had issues from a young age. He was homeschooled. He and his parents were also Mormons. Chris claimed his mom was abusive physically and mentally. However, if that's true, then that's awful, but his mother does deny all those claims.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true or not because he says a lot of freaking crap.
Yeah.
When Chris was around, okay, this part is kind of funny, but like also you can tell that there's things wrong with him from the start.
Yeah.
When he was 4 years old, to protest going back inside after being outside and playing, he would just pee his pants, which ruined his pants and shoes. One week, he did it 3 times, and his mom was getting fed up with it. He told her, just buy me new shoes.
Wow.
But she got so fed up that she grabbed a wooden spoon and hit him with it. She hit him hard enough that it broke into pieces.
Jeez.
But she felt so bad that she kept the spoon, like, pieces as a reminder of what she did.
Huh?
But, I mean, she did confess to that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if she did abuse him or not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. But when Chris was in his teen years, he grew more angry and irritable. When his parents would confront him, he would deny and not accept the blame or responsibility. At age 14, he started fantasizing about torturing and killing his mom. Chris played Dungeons and Dragons with friends, and one of them accused him of touching them inappropriately. When he was 16, his parents sent him to a counselor because they noticed something was wrong with him. It was a church-affiliated counselor, and they said they couldn't help him, and that he also was too much for them. He confessed to the church counselor that he had fantasies about murdering his parents, and they recommended that he get psychiatric help.
Think.
He reminds me of Carrie Stainer.
Yeah, literally.
Because he also fantasized at 14 of killing that cashier.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, that was like another similarity, and I was like, what's wrong with me picking like the same? And you also see another similarity later.
Is he obsessed with Bigfoot?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was. So they had him start seeing Grace Tallarico. She gave him some psychiatric tests, and there were no obvious signs of mental health issues or impulse control disorders. Chris didn't tell his parents the results of the test, and due to confidentiality, the doctor couldn't tell the parents either. They just never found out that nothing was really wrong with him, which is also frightening, because if there's nothing wrong with him, why is he the way he is?
Yeah, exactly.
But he stopped going to therapy, of course, because he thought it wasn't helping. And then this part, like, friends, question your friends when they say stuff like this. He actually told his friends his fantasies. One was taking his mom into the woods, cutting her into pieces, making her stand on her head, pouring boiling water between her legs, pulling her limbs out of place, and finally pouring sugar all over her body so crows would eat her.
That's traumatizing.
Yeah.
What? What in the psychopath is happening?
Oh. He admits later that he and Steven are psychopaths, and I'll play that clip later.
Yeah, we could tell.
Or sociopaths or whatever. I don't know. But I literally wrote, what? Excuse me? Because that's frightening.
Literally, it's terrifying.
So friends, if your friends say something that detailed, do something.
Yeah.
Don't think it's a joke. Which this happens a lot. Other people later will say, oh, I thought he was just kidding. I thought it was just a joke because that's just how he is. No.
That's literally what happened with the Discord killer. Yeah. Haas. Nobody believed him online until he kept sending those pictures over and over.
Question it, people.
Yeah.
In 2008, on Thanksgiving, his mom was searching his room for drugs because she suspected him of having them. She came across a VHS tape and found that it was porn.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is against their Mormon religion. He denied it, and he said that she planted it there to get him in trouble. He left his house and lived with church friends for 7 months. The mother there, Ramona, said he was awkward, intense, and had no social skills. He was even referred to as Creepy Chris by Steven's girlfriend because he hit on her. He also followed Steven around. He was like the follow the leader type of person with him. Like anything that Steven would do, he would do. Chris wanted to be in the Marines. He actually was in the Army Cadets, but in 2008, he failed out of it. This gets even... Chris, in this like group of people, I don't understand his brain. I can't understand it. Because people reported that he was obsessed with weapons and violence. He also wore camo all the time. He was very fascinated with knives. He even had a picture on social media holding a knife with a creepy smile. He wrote on Facebook that he liked anything sharp and described himself as prone to extreme anger. He wrote, quote, although everyone has a light and dark side, mine are very extreme. If I love you, or at least don't dislike you, then I'm the sweetest person ever. But heaven help you, if I truly lose it, it's not pretty, end quote.
Oh, God.
Red flag.
Yeah, red flag.
His last Facebook post was on Sunday morning, October 4th. He wrote on there that he enjoyed hanging out with 2 friends while watching Dexter, which will come back later. So now we're going to get into the third person. And I have conflicting feelings about him, and you'll see why. I don't know if he's really a bad person.
Yeah.
Or if he just got caught in it.
Mm-hmm.
Which happens with the next 3 people. But this one's like a little wishy-washy for me.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to feel. But William Marks, a.k.a. Billy Marks, was born August 30th, 1991. He was 18 in 2009. He lived in Amherst. What is known about Billy is only of what his dad, James, has told everybody and has told the media. His dad didn't want him hanging out with Stephen and Chris. Billy was actually trying to avoid Stephen at this time, too. Stephen would call him, and Billy would just let the phone ring. Stephen would always ask him for rides, and Billy had a hard time telling him no. James said he got mixed in with the wrong crowd. He was lost and impressionable. This part, he would quit a job just because a friend did. His friend worked there. So, like, that's why I'm like, I don't know how to feel about him, because, like, was he just accidentally following them and got into the wrong crowd? Or, I don't know. It's very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
His father even said he was like follow the leader a lot. He was described as a misfit. He used to play baseball, but started to play video games only with a few friends he did have. Billy was in therapy for depression and social anxiety. He took medication for it. He also struggled in school. However, sometime in June of 2009, Billy stopped taking his medication, and this is when he started getting in trouble with Stephen. Billy was a small guy. He was about 5'4" and was like 100 pounds. It was thought that he was friends with Stephen because Stephen was a bigger guy and could protect him. I could see.
Yeah.
And I could also see maybe whenever he stopped taking his medication, that is why he got involved with it. So, like, it's very, like, I don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand. Like, but also report it.
Yeah.
Quinn Glover, who was 18 in 2009, lived in Amherst too. He had no criminal record or behavioral problems. His parents never spoke to media, so there isn't much about him. He was born in 1992. It isn't known how he fell in with the rest of the crowd. However, there was a mention of him being at a Mormon study. Don't know if he was Mormon or not, but Christopher Gribble was, so he could have met him there. But Quinn did go to church. He often performed at church due to his talent in singing with the guitar. He was described as a bit moody, rebellious, and withdrawn. He was also described as a really nice guy who hates himself when he's angry. He's always putting himself down, would hurt himself to help someone else. From a young age, he was on medication for depression and anxiety, and he was a B average student. And I gotta move to my notebook and try to find where I left off. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I was trying to type it all up, but I didn't get it typed up. But Autumn Savoy, who was 20 at the time in 2009, lived in Hollis. He was born on October 26, 1989. He had minor arrest, criminal mischief, and possession of drugs on school property. He scratched the F word onto someone's car, the homophobic slur, which you can guess what that word is. He also told police he was having a bad day.
Because that justifies it.
Yeah. Sometime in 2009, the 5, Stephen Spader, Chris Gribble. Oh, also, sorry, not much is known at all about Autumn.
Yeah.
Even in like the videos and stuff, he doesn't have his picture out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just a black figure because they don't want to say who he was, because he had the least amount of involvement in this crime. He kind of got dragged into it.
Yeah.
So he did the least, but that's why like nothing's known, because we don't know who he is. We just know his name. That's all. But sometime in 2009, the 5, Stephen Spader, Chris Gribble, Billy Marks, Quinn Glover, and Autumn Savoy all start hanging out, and they mainly played video games, watched movies, and listened to violent music, which specifically Insane Clown Posse. And whenever I was researching and I found that out, I just laughed. So I was like, I know what ICP is.
Yeah.
I used to listen to them when I was like 12.
Yep.
They're like harmless.
I know.
So I'm like, violent music, okay, just because it's like screaming pretty much and like heavy rap, like
that is so funny, because my next story that I typed up has something to do with them.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing, like,
oh wow, hope it's not the same case.
No, it's not.
Okay. I hope it's
no.
Okay.
I've been talking about that case that I talked
Oh,
about.
is it the one you? Oh, I forget what that's called. Yes. Yeah. Okay. But I just think it's funny because I'm just like, I literally laughed, and I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just like, ICP.
I know.
Out of all things out there, you listen to ICP. I don't know. I don't listen to them anymore, but it's just because, like, I don't know. I grew out of it, but I mean, I don't hate them.
I know,
but I don't know. But people and neighbors, I just can't stop up. People like neighbors and friends actually reported they were a group of disinfected youths who were led by Steven Spader at a high school dropout. Who was a high school dropout who was frequently in trouble with the law in the last several months, who saw himself as a type of gang leader. They all were fascinated by murder and violence. They all talked about the Zodiac Killer the most.
No, of course they did.
Yeah. From reports of friends and families, all their behaviors went downhill once they all started hanging out. They talked about doing violent acts. Steven talked the most about breaking into people's houses and killing them.
Oh my god.
Yeah. In September of 2009, they started a gang/club that Spader described being the president of, or declared being the president of. They called themselves, this is the 3 words, the Disciples of Destruction. Have you heard of them before?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah. I think that's like a really stupid name. That's just me. I mean, it could be like a good band name.
Yeah.
But
like, oh, we're badasses.
Yeah. That's what they think. That's what Steven thinks. He thinks like, oh, I'm this gang leader. I'm like, He even says later, I was in drive-by shootings and stuff. I'm like, no, you weren't. And that you say that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, now that you're in prison, you're gonna see that what you did's not cool, and people are gonna beat you up because they hate you because a kid's involved.
If you think that you're a thug, buddy, wait till you go to prison.
Yeah. You're not gonna be a thug there. They're just gonna beat on you. You're gonna be their punching bag.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that. So where was I? Okay, I remember. I see what that says. Okay, so Steven even just designed the logo, and they drew up a mission statement that they are gonna cause bloodshed and destroy things.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Chris Gribble was declared the second in command, was even called lieutenant. Just like,
that's so cringy.
It is like, just imagine this is what you did in your high school years. Like, you're a senior in high school. You should be thinking about like what you're doing like in life, not trying to create a gang. Oh, no. Like, it's just like some of the parts I'm just like, oh my god, you're so freaking ridiculous. But then like they turn into the absolute worst monsters ever. So like it's just
yeah.
But this gets even worse, so bear with me here. Steven got the idea that they should break into a house, and if there were people inside, that they would kill them for fun.
Oh, what a fun game that is. Let's go kill people. What is wrong with you?
Right? What is wrong with you, Steven? I hate you. Some sources say this was some sources say that this was an initiation for Chris, and some say it was for all of them. They all have shaved heads at this time. Maybe it was a uniform. I don't know. Nobody knows. However, Autumn isn't mentioned as being a disciple in destruction, but he also had a shaved head, so
yeah,
put in what you want there. None of them had jobs. They got money by stealing. At the end of this, because like, you know, you can't get a job, I guess.
Yeah.
just steal things instead. Which is also like a reoccurring thing in some of these.
Yeah.
At the end of September, Spader and Billy broke into a house. No one was home, but they stole stuff, jewelry, an iPod, and pawned it. When they ran out of money, Steven said they had to do it again. And I do have a clip of Billy talking about how he did that, but this is how many clips I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I also have some on YouTube. So, that I wanted to play. So I'll probably just play them later.
Yeah.
Because they're not exactly in order.
Yeah.
But let's see. So the second break-in was going to be different this time because this time they brought weapons. However, it is believed that the intent this time was to kill and was the primary motive, especially for Stephen and Chris. Maybe not for Billy and Quinn, but we don't really know about that.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't know what they were getting into whenever this happened. I don't know. Stephen decided that Saturday, October 4th is when they were going to break into another house. And Billy went scout. Well, this is why I'm like wishy-washy about Billy. Because Billy went scouting looking for a house to do that at that day. Like earlier in the day. So you see, like,
yeah, it's hard to justify.
Like, why would you be like, okay, let me just go look for a house so we can like burglarize and probably most likely kill people at?
Yeah.
Have you guys sat around prior to Saturday and talked about doing a burglary? Well, I didn't with them personally. I don't know if they did. You're telling me right now, you look at me in the eye and you tell me you've never done a burglary before. Breaking in part, yes. Okay. You ever heard any of those guys talk about killing people? Like kidding around? Yeah, but okay. What kind of kidding around? I just don't know. No, I'll tell you, how kids are. Just saying that all the time. But, cheers, speak like that. Probably like seriousness of actually killing someone.
So that's like a clip. I don't know if you could hear it. It was kind of hard to hear. But the detective was asking him, like, did they sit around and talk to you about killing somebody that day prior to Saturday?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, but they were kidding. Because he said it to, like, they said it to, like, teachers and other people and stuff like that. So they were just joking. Yeah. I think they were being serious. Oh, sorry. That was a clip from us. Sorry about that.
Oops.
Some of these are hard to hear.
Yeah.
But you can find them on YouTube if you wanted to watch them. But I guess the clips from Billy are later. But yeah, so he pretty much also was saying that he didn't do a break-in before, but he did. Stephen decided, he's decided that they settled on, so Billy went scouting looking for a house to do so. It said because he was the only one that had a car at the time. I don't think that's correct because Chris later has a car.
Yeah.
So, Billy went scouting and looking for. I read that already. Oh my god. Okay. They settled on Trow Road because of the seclusion and being covered in trees. They actually first decided on 6 Trow Road. That they had no idea who lived there or even how old they were or anything. That Friday, Stephen went over Billy's and shown him his 4-inch knife that he had. However, the weapon Stephen would bring wasn't that knife. It was actually a machete that Chris found in his house.
Oh, great.
Which I have that clip. Here it is.
We looked around for a good entry point where we wouldn't make a lot of noise. We didn't see any alarm system, so we figured we were probably set. All the doors were locked. We finally found one basement window we thought we could get Billy into if I could get it open. Yep. I used the black mechanical assist.
I don't think this is the right one.
To cut the screens. There were screens between us and them. Billy was in on it too. He was all for it. We all had pocket knives. I had found a machete that my father owned. And Steve had mentioned he liked machetes, so I brought it along. Okay. And there's a Boy Scout knife, a straight knife, about 4 or 5 inches long. Okay. Thin blade. I liked it. It had a very nice handle, and it had a leather case that could go on your belt. Yeah. So I chose that. We met up. Quinn was going to be on it. He'd on it too. Okay. Autumn was going to be our cover story. He said we'd get there. Whenever we told him, he'd say we were there from that time on, so that we had an alibi. This information.
Yeah, so right there, he says that he brought the machete. Then he also says what I'm going to say next, but it's just like crazy. He's talking so monotonely.
Yeah.
And he was like, and it had a nice handle, and I like that. And it's just like, what the?
I know.
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? Unrelated, but was that video by the Elu crew?
No.
I love that channel. I recognize the voice because I watch them all the time.
I was trying to cut out just the part, so I'm gonna have to edit this down. So
they always do like they always like put the interviews in their videos like of them.
I wanted to add some of the interviews, and then I found interviews elsewhere that I wanted to add too. This next part. Okay, so these kids, I don't know what they were thinking. They were not being smart. The next thing is chloroform was mentioned at one point. Stephen said he wanted to chloroform people, tie them up, and then torture them for their financial information.
Wow.
There are reports that Steve ordered Billy and or Quinn to buy the stuff to make it. Another source that he even asked his mom how to make it. It ended up being decided that it was too complicated to make or too hard to find. Why do they think they could just find chloroform somewhere?
Yeah, literally.
Like, oh my god. Which I don't think I have that clip, but I might actually.
I just got a notification from Netflix documentary about Oscar Pistorius. Remember Riva Steenkamp? The story I did about the Olympic sprinter, his legs.
Yeah,
and then there's a documentary coming out about him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That story
was crazy. So I don't know if I have that. I might have it, but I might have the thing about the chloroform. So yeah. The next night, Saturday, they got together with some girls at Billy's house. Autumn was going to be their alibi for him, which I had just played that recording. They were going to, he was going to say that they were all over his house, just watching movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Billy tried to get out of this, though. He told Stephen he didn't want to be a part of it, but he was bullied into it. They all left at 8:30 and met at Walmart with their weapons. Stephen had a machete and the others had knives. One source said that they went to Walmart to attempt to buy the items to make chloroform, which I don't think you could buy stuff to make chloroform at Walmart. But maybe I'm wrong.
I hope you couldn't.
And this is like, yeah, right. And this is like where I get confused because like Chris drove them from Walmart to Trow Road at midnight. He parked far from the house they targeted, put on gloves, and left their cell phones in the car. When they got to 6 Trow Road, they decided not to do this house. It was a big house, too big of a house for them, and someone said that there was an advertisement for a security system outside, so they decided to break into the house next to that one, which was 4 Trow Road instead, which is the house that belonged to the Cates family. Mom and Dad, David and Kimberly Cates, and 11-year-old Jaimie. They didn't know David was out on business, leaving Kim and Jaimie home alone.
No.
Yeah. And right now we're at 48 minutes. So yeah, this episode is going to be a 2-parter. So this is the end of part 1.
So tune in for part 2
next week.
Yes.
So you can send us your stories or cases you would like us to cover to our email at dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com, or you can comment on our Reddit page or /dreadfullytwistedpod, or you can DM us on all of our social medias, which is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at dreadfullytwistedpod, I think. And is it Dreadfully Twisted Pod? Yeah, Dreadfully Twisted Pod. And then please rate us on Spotify. 5 stars, 5 stars.
5 stars, 5 stars.
You can listen on Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Listen Notes, Podcast Index, and YouTube. Please share us to your friends and family. Anybody that likes true crime or paranormal stuff.
Send us some ideas, cases you want us to cover, your stories, all that jazz.
Because doing all of that, like sending us your stories, helps us like look for cases or tell your stories that you would like other people to hear if you are willing to share them. And if you rate us on Spotify and share us with your friends and family, that really, really helps us get the podcast out there and helps us stay relevant in the charts. And we would like to keep sharing these stories, not stories, but cases of people who need to be told because their lives matter. So yeah, and we love you guys.
We love you.
Stay positive.
Check on your friends.
Don't be like the disciples of destruction.
Don't do that, or like the other criminals that we talk about on this channel.
Just be a good person.
Yes.
And we love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.